Welcome back. It still is the Saturday morning show, 92.3 Nigeria Info. This is the final hour, so yes, we're counting down. Right here with me is Mr. Patrick Uduma of Standout. He is the convener of Standout, and there's something coming up shortly. I'm sure that in the coming weeks we'll talk about it. But this morning, there are a couple of things that we may or may not be allowed to assume depending on the direction of the conversation. But let's meet the man. Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
Good to have you back. How was your vacation?
It was well-deserved. That's what I say when anybody asks. Well-deserved. You know? I feel like I should have taken a little longer, even though I couldn't technically. But I love that I took it.
And how's the fatherhood experience?
That one, I cannot explain because it's new every morning. I have no idea how I'm doing so far.
Club, right?
Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick. Thank you very much. We're trying, we're pushing. Hopefully, I can live up to whatever the expectation is.
Life cannot do you, do life.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Thank you. So what are we doing this morning?
Assume it.
Okay.
You know, that cliché, people have said that assumption is the lowest level of knowledge.
Indeed.
We want to bring a reversal to it. Because a lot of us live in that reality all through our lives. Have you heard a story about a guy you've never met, but the story was told about him, and you've not met him, you have not encountered him, you have not had the experience? Just the fact that a friend mentioned him and paint a picture, you assume that person.
Yeah.
And you are almost going to live your life with that perception. Eventually, when you see that person, you're not going to allow yourself to experience him. You allow your assumption to experience him.
Yeah. The stories will reinforce.
Yeah. So, is that a lowest level of knowledge? It is not.
Okay.
You know that there are wives and their husbands who literally have lived in assumption in that relationship all through their life and suffered for decades because that becomes their reality. And if that is possible, can we not shift that assumption into a different world? What if you're a God? Have you ever thought about it, that if your word is God, what? So what is assumption? Assume it. The assume said, take or begin to have power or responsibility. Take or begin to have power or responsibility. If you assume that something is true, you imagine it, that it is true. The third division say to take on. To take on. The synonyms to assume is presume, think, believe, expect. And I love that one, believe, which is what we'll be dealing with more, believe. I like the way the writer of Matthew put it in Matthew chapter 19:26. He said, but Jesus looked at them and said, what? With man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. I like the way the writer of Psalm put it in, pen it out in Psalm 82 verse 6. Ye are gods. I said, all of you are children of the Most High. Are you a God? The writer of Mark put it this way. Yes, Jesus said, if you yourself can assume it, if you can assume it, everything is possible for the person who has faith. That means who assume it. And that's why we bring in tools, we bring in strategy, we bring in concepts. Reversal comes from the norms and fire. That's why standard is meant to challenge status quo. It's meant to challenge status quo. It's meant to redefine certain standard you have. And that's why I would say, is life doing you, or are you doing life? Let's see the basic life creating questions. Your belief system is central to overall performance of your life because your belief creates your reality. You cannot live above your belief system. Your overall wellness, your overall productivity, your overall success, your overall management is believed to centered on your belief. And inside that belief, there's a lie in it. In belief, there's a lie. B is either you be and lie or be and live. And a lot of us are be and lying themselves. And they are living in that lie.
Okay.
And their experience is founded by their belief system. And so most people don't challenge their belief system. So we're saying, where does your belief stream from? Is it from experiences or from the world? We need to ask ourselves a question, because there are people who literally, Sammy, live by the experiences and never live by the word. I mean, talk about the creative word. So, for instance, I live by the word, not by the experiences of men, because experience is a teacher that embodied me, that expand my knowledge, and the knowledge gap is the problem of life. What influences your belief system? What is that influence? Is it people? Is it system? Is it structure? Is it environment? We'll get to that. What have you been believing, consciously or unconsciously? You need to sit down once in a while to check what you've been believing. Do you think your current belief system support your aspiration and your desire? These are questions people need to begin to search, because sometimes we struggle in life, and what we're struggling is a belief system. Have you challenged some of your belief system to ensure that they do not stand against you? A lot of us, our belief system are standing against us in business, in marriage, in life itself. Then let's look at the source of belief. Your belief can create a world of possibility, or your belief can limit you or be a cage or a prison. You can be in prison based on your belief system. You know how people said, I can't make it in life, you're shut down completely. Oh, Nigeria is hard. Nigeria will be hard because that's your belief system. Or say or you can't have a job unless you have somebody in high places. Sorry, you will never get a job because you don't have somebody. But some of us believe that we can find our life in life. Now, irresponsible talk makes a real mess of things, but a reliable reporter is a healing present. You see, faith comes by what? Hearing.
My hearing.
What is that inner conversation? A lot of us need to understand that your life is a function of an internal conversation. All things are created twice, first in the mind and then in the world. So look at the source of belief, the word. In the beginning was the world, and the word was with God, and the word was God. Faith empowers us to see the universe that created in beauty and coordinated in power of his word. Your words are so powerful that they will kill or give you, and the talkative person will reap the consequences. Ignore the word and suffer. Honor God's command and grow rich. Careful words make careful life. Careless talk may ruin you everything. And 90% of women live out of their word. Because we're not conscious that that's a creative energy. What is another source of belief? Knowledge. Knowledge is acquired by books and the people we come in contact with. The teaching of the wise is the fountain of life. So no more drinking from a dead tent well. Knowledge is infuses belief. The other one is experience. Experience past results that condition or program your belief. The fact that I failed yesterday doesn't mean I'm the same person. That failure is a teacher that will heal me, that will help me to evolve and grow, that will bring me into another level of creation so that I can contribute more. Your experience, no matter what it is, cannot create your future. You can reclaim that experience. And this is one of the things that has helped me move beyond expectation. Environment. The culture of one's environment can influence your belief for those who want environment to condition them. Then I like the last one, imagination. This is a mental representation of your world. That's why they say, lovers of God are filled with good ideas that are noble and pure. Imagination, which is what we're going to be doing most of the time.
Hold on. Is that mental representation of your word or world?
Your world.
Your world.
Your world.
Okay.
Yes. Your true life is in your imaginative world. Imagination is the ability to consistently and intentionally, in truth, with appropriate firmness and accurate, produce and stimulate sensation and ideas in the mind without immediate input of the senses. Right? I was here in Port Harcourt and Tammy, and I needed a new job to change my job. I was so specific, very specific. I said, I need Lagos people to employ me. I've been to Lagos, but I don't know anybody. And I stayed consistently with that idea. And that's how a guy asked me to speak with a gentleman. And that gentleman came from Lagos, interviewed me. I worked for them. And my new life rested on that. If you understand the power of imagination, all of us live in it. Okay, we're driven by fear. Fear is not real. Where is it? In your imagination. You assume it. It has not happened. And that's why people steal in Nigeria than to create. Because it's easier for them to steal. And that's why we can't manage. When you get into imaginative process, you know that you are the source of this imagination. You can create a model that represents. What are you afraid of?
What about caution?
What is caution?
It is I want to choose my words carefully, the concern for a misfortune not to happen.
Let me tell you, if you develop yourself, you're skilled and you're competent, confident is that capability that you can find yourself in a situation and still find yourself, not lose yourself.
No, but Ms. Patrick, let's move away from fear a bit. I understand something like crossing the road. You must take caution for something like that. If you ignore all the signs and go ahead, there is danger that could happen.
Have you ever seen people who are very careful and yet in that carefulness they were crushed?
Let me put it like this. What is the purpose of a seatbelt in your car? There's a reason it's there.
Yes. Now, you see, that seatbelt came as a result of an experience.
Sure.
So it has not placed to you, it has placed into you responsibility. So that caution is a responsibility. Like, for instance, I don't blame. I ask myself, if something happened now between me and you, I'm not going to look at you. I'm going to look at what am I supposed to do. So there's a difference between responsibility and prediction because you don't control the future.
So I needed to move on and finish up. But how do you separate caution from fear?
Caution is just giving you a prediction of empowering you with responsibility. What it's supposed to do now.
Caution empowers you with responsibility.
Yes.
Okay.
If I know that I'm going to have a child in 9 months, it's not a miracle. It's a responsibility. So I started planning. I started saving money. That caution is now informing you what to do now. It is what to do now that will avert the future.
So how does fear play in?
Yeah, fear is a good source, not to ensnare you, but to empower you. So each time fear is not empowering you, then it's ensnaring you.
Interesting.
So key influencers to assume it. This is where it is. Sammy, each time I assume something that dehumanizes human being, wrong perception. Even me. So you have to have clarity, very good vision of what you want. Like, I knew I wanted that Lagos job. I have exactly what it was. And I know that specificity was there. I was so clear. Even the office, I designed it in my mind. The car, how I'm going to... when I look at my office now today and myself, it's a product of those assumptions. And the reality has been created now. it took a long time. It may not just be instant, like we say. It might take 10 years. It might take 15 years. It might take 5 years. It might take 2 years. But you live in that reality. That's a consistency.
Okay.
So that's vision, clarity, distinctive ideas, then positive qualities. Then there's what they call the parental conduct, because now the vision is what you have attributed, put a character content to it. Then you now have a conduct. That's why I say those that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. There's a conduct, there's an attitude, there's a frame of mind, there's a joy that you flow in. That clarity, just give it for instance. You see people who have a vision board.
Yeah.
And no matter what you want to do, they find their life in that vision.
They're focused,
board.
yeah.
They're focused on that.
Yeah.
So what's the template to assume it? Inner conversation. If you want to change anything in your life, change your inner conversation. Change the fact that Nigeria is good and stop talking to you that this Nigeria will produce for me. Nigeria will produce for you. Change your assumption, your inner conversation concerning your spouse, your husband, your wife, or your children, your boss. A lady who said the boss was so hard and came to me and said, go and tell yourself that man is your future builder. Just see. A lady whose mother-in-law comes into the house. Each time the mother-in-law comes into the house, there's a hypertension arises, and there's a ball around her region. Now, when she came, and we said, okay, see, you're living on an assumption that she came to consume. Change the inner conversation to help. That you have the capacity to help her, and this will stop. And the moment she changed that inner conversation, her life changed. So if your business is going down, change the inner conversation. To have a new life experience, change your inner conversation. Doing this will cause a significant change in your physical form. Resentment, irritation, impatience, anxiety, insecurity, frustration, low esteem, ineffectiveness are fueled by your inner conversation. Your inner wisdom or knowledge or institution guides you. The second one is your inner reality. This inner reality conveys life essence, while the external reality speaks of life expression. Get into a house. A man's inner external reality is a reflection of his internal reality. Have you seen a beautiful personality? If you check the house is beautiful. And this is one thing that we have not explored, that inner reality. A lot of us are driven by external things. See, Sammy, everything I've created, I have lived in them. And that's why when I get to a certain position, I'm not attached to it because I have lived in them before now.
Before it became physical.
Before it become physical.
You've experienced it.
I've experienced it. Like now, I'm experiencing a particular car. Each time I drive, I'm driving that car. So when that car appears, it's not a big thing. Because that's the inner reality that I've expressed in the external reality.
Interesting.
Now, this is where the problem is. Now, they have a focus, they have a vision, but they are dancing. They have a dancing mind. They don't have a focal point. That's where the imagination comes in. Assume it. The last one is choose the feeling.
Choose the feeling.
Feeling is everything. Rightly assume, rightly self-talk, rightly focus, rightly feel. Challenge what you assume, dwell in goodness, and rightly do it.
All right. All right. Assume it. Your belief is central to your creation. You cannot operate beyond your belief. Do you live by experiences or by the word? And the word, Mr. Patrick says, is the creative word. Do you think, and this is a striking question, Do you think that your current belief system supports your aspiration? That's a question everybody needs to ask themselves. Your experience, you said, can never create your future. Imagination is the mental representation of your world. The template to achieving a new life, your inner conversation, choosing your feeling, and other things at times. There's a WhatsApp message here. Says, that Mr. Patrick guy is loaded. Yes, he is. He truly is. So let's unload him some more. So basically what you've said, I've come to the conclusion from what you've said that assuming it is imagining or creating. Okay. Now, do you live by experiences or by the word? Of course, you prefer the word because it's a creative word. So where is the place for experience? Where does your experience coming? What does it teach you? What does it do for you?
When I felt in marriage, what happened? What I didn't blame. I went in. It was a conversation in my mind that was playing out in my reality.
Okay.
So that experience taught me how not to think and taught me how to think.
So it is there to teach.
It's there to teach. And if you can't talk about your past experience, you have not been healed. Because we're supposed to talk about it, unearth it subconsciously and unconsciously in order to evolve and enlarge.
So the evidence of healing is that you can touch it, you can talk about it.
You can talk about it.
If you can't handle it, then you haven't healed.
Yeah, then you become defensive. Then they have triggers of those anxieties.
Wow, that's something. Okay, what is happening with Standout?
Standout, Sammy, by April, the first Saturday, the uncommon will have emerged. I can't wait to that. You know, when people talk about legacy, they think it's one big thing. Every time you meet a human being, you have to leave and that's when people start leaving you because you live in them.
Okay. So it's coming up?
Yes.
When?
We will unfold it.
Okay, that's nice. All right, for those who want to reach out, connect with Standout.
Please go to our www.soistandard.com. www.soistandard.com. You get a whole lot of our message and download.
All right.
Yeah.
And
if you want to reach me, 08033 411 451.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
Patrick.
you, Sam. It's nice to see you again.
Yes, indeed. It's nice to see you too. All right. And